My name is Brandon Jones, and after having an amazing season at Independence Community College and being listed as the top-ranked JUCO prospect in the nation, it's finally time to see if my talents will translate to the next level. But first, I must decide what school I'm going to commit to, but I have to choose wisely because I also need a good NIL deal to be able to provide for my son. After my freshman season at Independence Community College in Kansas, I returned back home to Kentucky. As soon as I got there, Bree brought my son over to the crib. Now this was only my second time seeing him in person. The school allowed me to fly in when he was born so I could see him get delivered, but other than that, I've only seen him through FaceTime. Bree and I stepped outside to have a much needed conversation. Remember, we weren't dating when we found out she was pregnant. Nah, we was just cool, just really vibing together. But now that we have a child, we needed to figure out exactly where we stood. So we just agreed to do the co-parenting thing. No relationship, no feelings, just raising our son together. But look, since Bree had him while I was at school playing football, now that the season was over and I was back at home taking online classes, I offered to take him so she could focus and finish her classes. I was officially a full-time dad. That summer, my boy Nasir had came back from Texas A&M, so we started training together in my aunt's backyard. He was really giving me all the game of what I should expect on the next level and how crazy the college lifestyle is. Unfortunately, things didn't work out for him in Texas, so he decided to jump into the transfer portal. He'll be playing in Northern Illinois next season. He asked me where I had planned on playing, and honestly, I didn't even know.
So bro, talk to me. Have you decided what school you gonna commit to yet? I know you missed the big time now. You can play wherever you want and shit.
Nah, bro, I'm still weighing out all my options, but to be honest with you, I'm going wherever they offering the biggest bag. I got a son now, so my main concern is really making sure he's straight.
Well, hey man, don't sleep on NIU. We not the biggest program out there, but it's looking like we finna have a pretty solid squad next season.
Damn, bro, they got you out here recruiting, huh? That's crazy.
Man, hell nah, bro. I'm just saying, us both on the same team would be crazy. We'd be unstoppable for real, just like in high school.
I was ranked as the #1 junior college recruit in the nation after my one season at Independence. They had me listed as a 4-star player with the NIL evaluation of just over $350,000. I got offers from just about every school in the nation, but just like I told Nasir, I was chasing that bag. Not only that, but I wanted to make sure I had instant playing time. Yeah, I wasn't trying to spend half the year sitting on the bench. But after really weighing out all my options, I decided to commit to USC. Now I'll be honest, I never saw myself playing on the West Coast, but they gave me an offer I couldn't refuse. I'm sure y'all remember that Instagram post from former SC quarterback Caleb Williams-Loft. Remember the one that went viral? Well, I thought that maybe the media was just making something out of nothing. I figured there was no way he was living like that in college, but bro, I was wrong. USC blessed me with a nice loft as well. I mean, it's actually an apartment and it's definitely not as big as Caleb's was, but hey, it's way better than having to stay in them dorms. Y'all gotta remember, I'm coming from my aunt's crib, a 3-bedroom house with like 12 people living in it. So when I found out this is where they was gonna have me staying, coming here was a no-brainer. My first NIL deal came from this barbershop in downtown LA. Literally all I had to do was show up, take a few pictures, and get a haircut. I mean, it was the easiest money I ever made in my life. But look, I went home that evening and really started researching on how to capitalize off my brand. I realized the more popular I was, the more attention I got, and with more attention came more money. It was at that exact moment that I decided to become a superstar. So the first step to becoming a superstar is your image. I know some people will probably say work ethic and determination, and don't get me wrong, all that's a part of it, but to me, your image is most important. So I went shopping. Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Givenchy, Dior, Versace, you name it, I got it. Now next, I needed a car, but it couldn't just be any car. Yeah, I needed something that was gonna stand out and turn heads. So first, I was gonna get that new 2024 Scat Pack. But then after giving it some thought, I was like, nah, that's a bit too basic. And I really didn't like the new body style, so I passed on that one. Then I had settled on a brand new 2024 BMW M5 G90. Like I had my mind set on this one, bro. This was the one. But after really looking at it, I felt like it wasn't flashy enough and it would probably blend into traffic too easy. So that's when I decided to go with this bad boy, the brand new 2024 Tesla Cybertruck. Now hear me out. I know it's ugly. I mean, that's actually the point. It turns heads. People can't help but look at it. So that means when they see it, they'll see me. Get it? When I first stepped on campus, my personal brand was extremely low. I mean, nobody really knew who I was. But by the end of the season, I had well over 1 million followers and everybody knew my name. Coming into camp, I was the second receiver on the depth chart. But just like when I played at Independence, I knew that wouldn't last very long. Yeah, it was only a matter of time before the team belonged to me. Our first game of the season definitely wasn't a soft touch. We'd be on the road about 4.5 hours away from home in Las Vegas, Nevada, taking on LSU. Being nervous was an understatement. I swear, walking out that tunnel and seeing all those screaming fans had me damn near paralyzed, but I was able to keep my composure for the most part. Coming out in the first game of my sophomore season, I was just looking to make an impact, but the impact I had in the first quarter definitely was not the impact I was looking for. I had a curl route, and if you ask me, I ran it perfectly, like I'm talking about to a T. But the LSU defender jumped the route, caught the interception, and took it home for 6. I was rolling around on the ground like an idiot, bro. I swear that was the most embarrassing moment of my life. I learned quick that if you're gonna play the game on this level, you gotta have thick skin. Not only that, but you gotta almost have short-term memory loss. One moment the crowd is booing you and you feel like you're the worst player in the world, and then the next moment you make a good play and they screaming your name. I was able to make a few key catches to put us in position to score, but unfortunately we weren't able to find the end zone and had to settle for a field goal. But on our next drive, my boy Zachariah completely torched the LSU defense and ran into the end zone for 6. Up until this point, I was having a pretty solid game. Like I said before, I was making a few key catches, picking up first downs. I mean, everything was working in my favor. But on our first drive to start the third quarter, tragedy struck as my quarterback tried to hit me on the post route but threw an interception. Now, if I'm being honest, that definitely wasn't my fault because I didn't even call for the ball, but I mean, it is what it is. What really pissed me off though was the LSU defenders celebrating. I knew I needed to make up for that interception, so on our very next drive, it was 3rd and 14 and I came in clutch, bro. I went for 70 yards completely untouched by the Tiger defense, scoring my first touchdown of my sophomore career. That play was the turning point of the game as we went on to beat the LSU Tigers by 3 points for our season opener. Our first home game of the season came against Utah State. We were the number 19th ranked team in the nation. Listen, when the Trojans have a winning team, the fan support is crazy. Seeing all that cardinal and gold in the stands had me on 10. I don't know, bruh. It was just like an energy boost. It was really something I never felt before. Even though my quarterback Moses and I had a few mishaps in the first game of the season, in our second game versus Utah State, he was still looking my way. It's almost like he never lost confidence in me, which was a huge confidence booster considering this was my first year with the team. We got down to right outside the end zone. He looked my way, but unfortunately the defense read the play like a book. Jumping ahead to the third quarter, we had a 4-point lead, and I had actually been sitting on the sideline pretty much that whole time. Being that we have so much depth when it comes to our wide receivers, the coaches rotated us out pretty often. I didn't really like it, but I mean, I was new here, so I really didn't have a voice. Also, the thing I really want y'all to pay attention to is I'm actually running my routes, bro. I'm not out here just running around like a chicken with his head cut off. No, I'm literally making plays within our offense, bruh. The fourth quarter came along, and at that point, I was having a pretty decent night. I think I had like 5 catches for maybe 50 or 60 yards, but I still hadn't scored. So on 1st and goal, I had that same slant route that got knocked down in the first half, but this time I caught the touchdown for 6. We went on to put a beating on Utah State at home and increase our record to 2-0 on the season. Week 3 of the season was technically our first road game. I mean, technically it was our second because we have opened up the season in Vegas, but you get what I'm saying. Anyways, we was on the road in Michigan, and leading up to that game, everybody was trying to tell me how crazy the atmosphere was gonna be. I thought they was just being extra, but bruh, it was insane. All week during practice, the coaches were trying to simulate and recreate that environment by playing loud music and crowd noises over the PA system, but bro, nothing compares to that environment. I'm not being extra when I tell you I couldn't even hear myself think. Now, coming out in this game, they had me matched up with one of their best DBs, Will Johnson. Now, this dude is a dog. I mean, he's a first-team All-American, all Big 10. He's really that dude. So to be matched up against a player of his caliber in an environment like this, I'll admit, it was a little bit intimidating. We came out pretty strong on our first drive and we were moving the ball pretty well. And then Will Johnson stepped up and made a huge play. He was able to get an interception after jumping my post route, but I credit that to the stadium noise because I was totally confused as to what route I was supposed to be running in the first place. But don't get it twisted, yeah, I'm just like him. I'm a dog too. So on our next drive, I went straight for Buddy's neck. I had the go route and I blew right by him. I'm telling you, I'm one of the fastest players in all of college football. So any DB that tries to jam me at the line is going to end up bad every time. That play was really the only bright spot of the game. Well, for me at least, because I was on the sideline for the majority of the time. I honestly think the coaches felt like the moment may have been a bit too big for me, so they didn't even let me play, even though I was making plays. Down by 3 points with 7 seconds left on the clock, I actually ran a post route, but I was supposed to run a go route. Not only was I confused, but my quarterback was as well, and he actually ended up throwing the ball into traffic, which led to an interception. We ended up losing our first game of the season on the road to Michigan by only 3 points. After our loss to Michigan, we had dropped down to the number 17th ranked team in the nation. Now, I figured we'd probably fall a little bit lower than that, but I wasn't too concerned because there were still a lot of games left in the season. But we'd be back at home taking on Wisconsin, and listen, this was definitely my coming out party. I sat and studied the film of the Michigan game, and honestly, I was embarrassed. Not only did I get outplayed, but my quarterback and I looked totally out of sync. So all week leading up to the Wisconsin game, Miller and I got in some extra reps every day after practice. Well, those extra reps after practice proved to be extremely beneficial because I did my thing. I believe I only had like 6 or 7 catches, but I went for over 150 receiving yards. We went on to beat Wisconsin at home in a pretty easy game. Our defense kind of gave up a few big plays, but other than that, man, the team was looking good. The next week, we'd be on the road in Minnesota taking on the Golden Gophers. Now, this game actually started off pretty crazy because literally the first play of the game was an interception. Then they jumped out to a 14-0 lead on us, but that didn't last very long because on our next drive, I would make the SportsCenter top 10 #1 play, bruh. All season, I had been telling my quarterback Miller, like, bro, when you see my hand in the air, just throw the ball up and I'ma go get it. Well, I did just that. I went up and grabbed it with one hand. This catch went viral. I swear I must have gained like 50,000 new followers after this hit social media. Anyways, we went on to take the easy victory on the road and improved our record to 4-1 on the season. Penn State was our next opponent. Now, they were having a pretty good season. We actually had the same exact record, so we came into this game knowing it was going to be tough. But towards the end of the second quarter, I would score the easiest touchdown of my entire career. I don't know what type of coverage they was in. I don't know if it was zone or man or what, but I definitely wasn't complaining because I caught the ball wide open in the end zone. The third quarter came, and up until that point, we were running a pretty balanced offense. Now, before coming to USC, I hated the run game. Like, I just felt like it was a waste of time to be out there blocking. But the more I learned about the game, the more I changed my mind. See, the more we actually ran the ball, the more the defense would start to press up to try to shut down the run. Well, of course, that's when I would take the lid off and kill the defense over the top for like a 60-yard bomb. But in the third quarter, I committed a crucial error. I tried to do way too much and reverse the ball upfield, but I ended up losing like 10 yards. Bro, the coach was pissed. He said if I didn't know which way we was going, then I didn't need to be on the field. So I stood on the sideline till the fourth quarter. The fourth quarter came and we were down by 1 point with only 45 seconds left. I had just gotten to the game, bro, and I was ready to make a play. But that's when my boy Miller dropped back and threw an 85-yard missile to my guy Zachariah for the game winner, bruh. The stadium went crazy, bruh. It was actually sounding like Michigan in there for a minute, bruh. But we went on to pull off the last second win at home, beating Penn State. We had finally cracked the top 10 for the first time this season. The buzz surrounding the program was crazy. I was no longer just a local celebrity. Nah, bruh, people knew me all around the world. Well, at least that's how it felt. But anyways, we were back on the road taking on Maryland. Now, this was a very dangerous team. At the time we played them, they actually had a 5-1 record just like us, so we definitely couldn't afford to take these boys lightly. Not only had I become a superstar off the field, but on the field, I actually became a target to opposing DBs. Yeah, they were trying to get some clout off my name. I could feel it, bruh. See, they knew if they had a good game versus me, then their name would start to get out there, but I wasn't having it. I knew every game the opposing DBs would be bringing their best, so I brought mine. Well, that never back down mentality would lead to several battles throughout the season. I'll be honest, there were a few plays that the DB would get the best of me, but of course I wasn't tucking my tail. No, I came back and got what was mine. The game versus Maryland was close. Until it wasn't. I mean, we would eventually pull away and pick up the win on the road. I would have one of my best games of the season, going for over 150 yards on only 6 catches. After my performance versus Maryland, it was pretty much undeniable that I was now the #1 receiver on the roster. So of course that meant that I would switch from the right side to the left-hand side of the field. So that took a little bit of getting used to. Now the main thing I was concerned about was my boy Zachariah. I mean, of course we was cool, but at the end of the day, we all trying to make it to the next level. So I didn't know how he would feel getting his spot taken, but credit to him because all he did was play 10 times better. Like, he really stepped his game up. But look, the crazy thing about our schedule this season was every single team we played was good. Like, we didn't get any of those pushover teams. I mean, look, Rutgers, for example, they were the 23rd ranked team in the nation. That's crazy. We were able to pull away and get the win at home, improving our record to 7-1 on the season. My boy Zachariah had an amazing performance, and I could tell he was hungry for a spot back, but I wasn't gonna let that happen. At this point, we were now the #2 team in the nation. Honestly, bro, it started to get a little bit scary because it was starting to look like we could really do it. Like, we really could win the national championship. And the crazy part is, we showed no sign of slowing down. No injuries, Nothing. Like, we was good. But we would be on the road taking on Washington. This would actually be one of my favorite stadiums that we played in all season. Now, Washington was one of the few unranked teams that we played, so y'all know I had to do my thing. From the very first kickoff, this game was a complete domination. You could literally take my highlights from this game alone and compare them to somebody else's entire season highlights. Like, that's how crazy I went. This was really my best performance of the season, for real, for real. If I'm not mistaken, I think my quarterback Miller actually broke a record for like the most passing yards or most touchdowns in the game. It was one of the two. My boy broke a record in this game. That's how uneven it was, man. But we went on to pick up the win on the road, improving our record to 9-1 on the season. But look, after the Washington game, I got a huge honor. Yeah, man, I actually won the Big 10 Offensive Player of the Week. Now, that's actually pretty crazy if you think about all the performances that I had throughout the season. This was my first time winning it. I don't know, bro. That kind of sounded a little sketchy, bro. But anyways, I was honored. I finished the Washington game with 8 receptions for 227 yards and 3 touchdowns. Again, keep in mind, I'm not running my own routes. I'm doing all of this within the offense. Somehow we dropped down 1 spot to the number 3 team in the nation. I don't know what happened. Honestly, the whole ranking system doesn't make any sense because we didn't lose, so why would we go down 1 spot? But anyways, all week, coach told us not to worry about the rankings or the headlines or the media. He told us to just stay focused and play. Well, y'all should know better than that, man. That's all I was really caring about. I was reading every headline and every article about me. Like, I was really invested in it. And surprisingly, I still had a lot of doubters out there. I mean, I had been performing at this same level all season, so what was there to doubt? We had Nebraska at home, and they were the number 18th ranked team in the nation. They had only lost 2 games on the season. That's what I'm trying to get y'all to understand, bro. I truly believe we had the toughest schedule out of any other football team in college football. We jumped out to a 4-point lead with about 2 minutes left in the first half. That's when I would make back-to-back plays that put us in position to score. I truly don't understand why defenses keep trying to cover us in man-to-man. We got way too many weapons on this team. Anyways, we were able to drive the ball down to about the 30-yard line, and that's when my boy Miller found our tight end cutting over the middle for 6. Our defense did their thing as they were able to keep the Cornhuskers completely scoreless in the second half. We walked away with the win at home, improving our record to 9-1 on the season. I did my thing, finishing the game with 7 receptions for 129 yards. Now, me personally, this is the game I have been waiting on all season. Now, I understand they're not our biggest rivals. They're more so like our little brothers, but hey, I still wanted that smoke with them boys. The UCLA Bruins. Now, we had officially became the number 1 team in the country. They was ranked number 20. So I know all that was on their mind was beating us and knocking us out of that number 1 spot. But I couldn't allow that, man. I came into this game on 10. I was extremely excited. Bro, we were playing at the Rose Bowl. I remember being at the crib and watching Vince Young versus Reggie Bush play here. I stayed up super late just trying to see the end of that game. So for me to actually be on the number 1 team playing at the Rose Bowl, man, that moment felt so surreal. I learned a lot about myself in this game though. See, the Bruins knew that if they wanted any chance to win, they would have to completely take me out of the game. And I'll be honest, bro, they actually did a pretty good job. So that's when I realized I would actually have to be a decoy in our offense, which really wasn't a role I was accustomed to. Midway through the game, the coach let me know, like, bro, you just gonna have to run your routes as if you gonna get the ball, knowing damn well we wasn't finna pass to you. And that's exactly what I did. I was out there running full stride, doing everything I could to get open, just for my quarterback to check the ball down on one of my teammates to pick up the first down. It was kind of tough, bro. It was like a mental battle, but it's definitely something I gotta work on, and I honestly think I grew as a player. We were down by 6 points with about 3.5 minutes left on the clock. We was in pretty good position to go ahead and take the lead. We were able to pick up a few back-to-back big plays to move the ball right outside the goal line. That's when the coach called my number on a slant route. I was able to complete the catch, but unfortunately I was just short of the touchdown. But on the very next play, we were able to run it in and take the lead. But unfortunately, we left way too much time on the clock, and UCLA was able to run their 2-minute offense and score, beating us on the road by only 2 points. After that tough loss to UCLA, we'd be back at home. But we couldn't afford to get comfortable because our biggest ops were right in front of us. One of the biggest rivalries in all of college football, USC versus the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Now, I truly don't believe we were supposed to lose that game versus the Bruins. I mean, honestly, just think about it. A little bit better clock management, it would have been a totally different outcome. Anyways, there was no way we were going to lose back-to-back rivalry games. Now, after that loss versus the Bruins, we did drop down quite a bit from the number 1 team in the nation to the number 8 team, but that wasn't too bad. Now, Notre Dame was ranked number 17th in the nation, so I was thinking that if we had a pretty good game versus them, we could probably find our way back into the top 5 teams. This was our final game of the season, and if I'm gonna be real with y'all, everybody was a little bit emotional. Man, I still remember fall workouts and summer camp, like, bruh, it was really the last game of the season. Now, of course, we were still guaranteed to at least one bowl game, but nah, our mind was focused on beating Notre Dame, and then we were looking ahead to the college football playoff. You know, it's really amazing what a team can accomplish when everybody is locked in and focused on doing their job. Like, if we all have one common goal, I feel like we were truly unstoppable. Like, on some real stuff, bro, I think it would have took like Pat Mahomes or, you know, like an NFL team to beat us on that day. To be honest with you, from the kickoff, Notre Dame didn't stand a chance. We were able to get the easy win at home over our rivals and put it into what was a pretty great season. We finished with a 10-2 record, and now our eyes were set on postseason play.